Look, I get it. You just closed a major case. And things with your mother are complicated. And hey, you found the swordsman, and believe me, we are grateful and in no position to ask for a favor. But there's a killer taking us out one by one, so we need Cassandra Killjoy to get back to work. Every legend has its beginning, the crucial series of events that shape the tale that we know and love. For there must be a foundation before we have an adventure. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and welcome back to DCember, which I specifically brought back to chronicle James Gunn and Peter Safran's new DCU. But you guys demanded that I talk about my adventures with Superman, so here we are. So let's begin with some secret origins. In the early 2020s, as rumors began to arise that Disney was bringing back Marvel's animated big guns, Warner's didn't want to get left behind. So an initiative started to revitalize DC Animated, which was the leading brand in superhero cartoons for over 2 decades. And thus, they started accepting pitches for new shows. One of the most popular came from Josie Campbell, who pitched a lighter, brighter version of Superman that would focus on the beginning of Clark Kent's career as a superhero, as well as the evolution of his friendships with Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. DC Animated alum Sam Register loved the pitch, and he put his considerable weight behind the show. And thus, Warner Brothers moved forward with the show that would soon be known as My Adventures with Superman, which was initially produced exclusively for Cartoon Network. But then the stupid-ass Warner Discovery merger happened, and the DCU was being rebooted under James Gunn's leadership. So My Adventures with Superman was suddenly on the chopping block. And so, in an effort to save the series, the creators had to pitch the show again, but this time to James Gunn. At the time, the only bit of finished animation that they had was the opening sequence, which they showed to James Gunn, who absolutely loved it. And like Sam Register before him, he also put his considerable weight behind the show. And suddenly, My Adventures with Superman was back on track. Only this time, the episodes would premiere on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim at midnight and be available the very next day on HBO Max. Furthermore, after season 1 was completed, Cartoon Network was so impressed that they went ahead and ordered a second season, before the first episode even aired. And so the show moved forward faster than a speeding bullet. The plot. After discovering his powers and alien heritage at the age of 12, Clark Kent elects to keep them all a secret, until 10 years later, when he moves to Metropolis to start his internship with the Daily Planet, moving in with fellow new intern Jimmy Olsen and meeting veteran intern Lois Lane. However, investigating all of the bizarre happenings in Metropolis makes it all the more difficult for Clark to keep his alien nature hidden. So, he assumes the secret identity of Superman, so he can use his powers in the open to help others and keep his friends safe, but still maintain a semi-normal life. But the more our heroes investigate, the bigger the threats they uncover, and the more the world comes to depend on Superman. Cast and characters. While this show has a big, impressive ensemble cast, what makes it work is having Clark, Lois, and Jimmy as the nucleus of the series. So in this section, I'm mostly gonna focus on them. Starting with Jimmy Olsen, played by Ishmael Saeed. As far as the group dynamic is concerned, Jimmy is the conspiracy theorist, the one who believes in all the weird paranormal insanity transpiring in Metropolis, something he reports on via his internet video series, Flamebird. But the hilarious part is that as silly as his theories might be, he's actually 100% correct.
No! Wait! Are those the CIA's classified sonic guns under development until the creator mysteriously vanished?
Lois Lane, played by Alice Lee, the intrepid investigator of the group. What she lacks in size and strength, she makes up for with unwavering determination. Nothing gets between Lois Lane and the truth.
What'd you think of Superman?
Oh, he's a liar.
Great. What?
Clark Kent, aka Superman, played by Jack Quaid, the conscience of the group. While Jimmy and Lois's main concern is getting the story and becoming reporters, Clark is more concerned with using said answers to help people, to stand for those who can't stand up for themselves.
What's in this for you?
Dr. Ivo, look around you. Is it that hard to believe that some people just want to help?
Season 1. The first installment of the series beautifully divides its time between cementing our hero's friendship, Clark discovering the extent of his power, and the progression of his romance with Lois, making this one of the few Superman adaptations to showcase this essential part of the mythology in full detail.
I love...
The main story arc for the season focuses on our heroes uncovering a mass conspiracy involving a covert government group called Task Force X, who is creating advanced weaponry to thwart an oncoming alien threat. Unfortunately, said weapons are stolen and put to use by the supercriminals of Metropolis. Oh, but it gets way more complicated than that, as these weapons are actually made out of Kryptonian technology, as the invasion that Task Force X is trying to prevent is from Krypton, as 20 years prior, on Zero Day, a Kryptonian fleet appeared on Earth and nearly leveled an army base, so Task Force X has been preparing for the return ever since, under the leadership of Amanda Waller, played by the great Deborah Wilson, and her mysterious partner, the General, played by Joel de la Fuente. And it doesn't take long for these determined patriots to make Superman their main target.
Hello, Superman.
Oh, but believe it or not, it gets even more complicated than that, as the General turns out to be none other than Sam Lane, Lois's dad. Yes, the mysterious antagonist that is indirectly responsible for all of the super crimes in Metropolis and has been openly trying to kill Lois's boyfriend throughout the whole season is her father. Guys, that is just good writing. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Season 1 is about identity and how no one can tell you who you are. You choose to be courageous. You choose to be remarkable. You choose to be a hero. And those who say otherwise are always, always, always wrong. Season 2. In our second installment, we start to see our heroes grow up and start to see the world as it is as opposed to how they think it is, as they settle into their new positions as official Daily Planet reporters. Lois and Clark become more committed to one another, while Jimmy tries to stay true to himself after becoming an internet mogul due to the mass success of Flamebird.
Jimmy, how much did you spend on these?
Money is no object.
But our heroes were not the only ones evolving into their new roles, as Alex the Assistant, played by Max Middleman, becomes the new powerful tech millionaire in Metropolis and rebrands himself as Lex Luthor. Quick side note, I actually accurately predicted that Alex would turn out to be Lex Luthor way back when the 4th episode of My Adventures with Superman aired, only to be told otherwise on social media by a bunch of randos that have absolutely nothing to do with the production of the show. To those people I say, I was right, you were wrong, kindly go f yourselves. The story arc this season primarily deals with the repercussions from Season 1. While our heroes did prevent a near catastrophe caused by Task Force X, the Kryptonian invasion is still coming. And through a bit of investigating, our heroes discover that this invasion is not being headed by flesh and blood Kryptonians, but by the Kryptonian defense system, which is controlled by a hyper-advanced AI named Brainiac, played by the legendary Michael Emerson. Oh, but there's more, as Clark discovers that he is not the last son of Krypton, as his cousin, Kara, voiced by Kiana Madeira, also survived, but unlike Clark, she never made it to Earth. Instead, she was found and raised by Brainiac, who forged her into his main lieutenant in his conquest of the universe.
Or Neo. before the new Kryptonian Empire.
First of all, awesome twist, as everyone thought that the one that was assisting Brainiac all along was Zod. And secondly, this is my second favorite portrayal of Supergirl, only second to Tom King's version from his Woman of Tomorrow comic book series, whom we will hopefully see properly adapted by Millie Alcock in next year's Supergirl movie. Now, as far as the season's arc is concerned, we see our heroes apply what they've learned in Season 1, as they do their best to rehabilitate and save Kara. And the message is simple: just because the world sees you one way, it doesn't mean that you have to adhere to that vision. Once again, you decide who you are. Also, the finale was large.
Final verdict.
As we moved into the 2020s, the superhero genre was starting to get a bit grim. My Adventures with Superman was the cure for this. A return to embracing optimism and maintaining hope. That through friendship, love, and collaboration, you can achieve anything. A bold declaration that there is no shame in wanting to do good. And there is not a more courageous adventure than doing the right thing. 10 points on the badassitude meter. Don't forget your press badges, grab yourself a big belly burger, and give it a watch. Now, as I am recording this, Season 3 of the series is in production, and that season might just change my ranking today, but for now, the series stands at a perfect score. Until then, I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster.